Hi, Dr. Reagan Robertson, CCO of Productive Dentist Academy here, and I have a question for you. Are you finding it hard to get your team aligned to your vision, but you know you deserve growth just like everybody else? That's why we've created the PDA Productivity Workshop. For nearly 20 years, PDA workshops have helped dentists just like you align their teams, get control of scheduling, and create productive practices that they love walking into every day. Just imagine how you will feel when you know your schedule is productive, your systems are humming, and your team is aligned to your vision. It's simple, but it's not necessarily easy. We can help. Visit productivedentist.com/workshop. That's productivedentist.com/workshop to secure your seats now.
When we went to New York, I gave everybody a couple $100, said go spend it on yourself. The best of everything. Stayed at the best hotels, went to great shows, did everything, and together as a team. And you start to see the team really, really come together that way.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Bruce B. Baird, and you're listening to the Productive Dentist Podcast. In this podcast, I will give you everything that I've learned over the last 40 years in dentistry, working with thousands of dentists. I'll tell you, it's not that my way is the only way. It's just one that has worked extremely well for me, and I'd love to share that with you so you too can enjoy the choices and lifestyle that productivity allows. More time for things you love, increased pay, better team relationships, and lowered stress. Let's get into it with this week's episode of the Productive Dentist Podcast.
Hi, this is Dr. Bruce Baird with the Productive Dentist Podcast, and I'm going to kind of continue what we were discussing on our last podcast today, but I'm going to kind of add in what are some of the rewards that you can offer your team to make them more enrolled in what you're doing and make them become part of, the fabric of your business, and have them want to show up no matter what, no matter when. And when that happens, you'll find that productivity goes up, stress goes down, profitability goes up, whining goes down. All of these things happen. But let me tell you about some of the things that we did in our practice, or we've done in our practice, that have helped, grow camaraderie, grow us together as a team. And number one is to having a reward system for the team. We have what's called a profitability incentive point, which is a bonus system that runs on a 3-month average, and it shares profits of the practice with the team. So they know that the better we all do as a group, the better they do individually. I think that is a bonus system that works extremely well. I remember doing bonus systems in the past that I was paying out bonus money, and it had nothing to do with collections and production, nothing to do with profitability. And there were some really wonderfully thought of consultants out there that were telling you should do that. Well, they didn't have a clue what they were talking about, in my opinion. But yes, that's a great deal. Another one is what we call the grab bag bonus. And I've talked about that in the past, but when we would go 20% above our daily goal, then, we would allow people to reach in a bag and pull out either a $10 bill, a $20 bill, or a $50. Obviously, there were less 50s than there were 20s, but it was something that was an immediate gratification at the end of each day. Not only did we do that, but we said if we do that 2 days in a row at 20% over our goal, that you actually get to reach in twice. Does that affect us? Well, heck, we're producing at a high level. I want to share the daily goal, and I want to share when we do well. And how do we know when we're doing well? Well, we set our goals at the beginning of the year, like we talked 2 or 3 podcasts ago. We set our goals, we know what we want to do, but we also want our team to understand where we're headed and why we're headed that way. We're very transparent about the numbers. And if you're not transparent, what ends up happening is your team thinks you're rich. If you're producing $100,000 a month, they think, okay, after salaries, That 100,000 a month, minus that, it all goes to you. They don't understand. So I want my team to understand overhead. I want them to understand every aspect of it. Now, I'm not going to tell each employee what the other employees are making. That's something that I try to keep with an understanding that you can always make more money here. I'm not one that necessarily, yes, I do a yearly evaluation. And we talk to the employee, we talk to the team member, and we tell them all the things that we're really happy about and proud, and some things that, hey, these are some things I think we could work on, and I want to help you. That's a different philosophy than just going, well, you've had 3 warnings, you've had this. Now, you may have to do that at some time in your practice, but I'm more interested in finding out, what can I do to motivate you as a leader? What can I do to help you understand that the better that we all do, the better you do individually. And if there's any kind of bonus system that you're doing that doesn't reflect that, like some people say, well, I don't include hygiene in that. No, I include hygiene in everything. Why? Because they're a part of the team. I have hygienists that would come in and clean, they'll come in and clean the room, for us, because they know we're running behind. Maybe there's one employee that's missing that day for whatever reason. But when I say that, it's super important to do that. What are some other things? What are some other things that could help employees? Well, number one is going to continuing education, loading up the crew. We took the entire crew, 19 people, to Hawaii. We took an entire crew to New York City, to an American Academy of Implant Dentistry meeting. Many of you have heard that story. But I wanted them to know, because what happens when you take an entire team to a continuing ed? They realize how great and how different your practice is than a majority of the others. So they're talking to other team members and other teams, and they go, gosh, we don't have all these problems. We don't have those problems, because, those can turn into gripe sessions when you're out, but not in our case. Having other dentists come visit, to look at your practice and to help. What ends up happening, we had 5 of my buddies in dental school. We all went to each other's offices and we evaluated, and we would compliment the team. And later on, after I started doing more teaching, having dentists in the office was actually a motivator for our team. They say, we must be really good because people are actually coming to see what we're doing. Raising the level of admiration you have for your own team can make that huge difference. When we went to New York, I gave everybody a couple $100, said, go spend it on yourself. The best of everything. Stayed at the best hotels, went to great shows, did everything, and together as a team. And you start to see the team really, really come together that way. The other things that we did was just go on a simple team vacation. Go to Cancun. We took 20 people. Is it expensive to take 20 people airfare? And I would suggest going to an all-inclusive, but I say that because it's going to be a lot more predictable on what you're going to spend. But when you look at and say, let's set a goal of X, and that if you reach a goal of X, not only is your office going to be so much more profitable, because remember, once you get to the profitability incentive point, or that point to where everything's paid for, everything above that has a very low overhead number. So if you take it to the next level, and all of a sudden you're down in Mexico at a meeting, and they have CE meetings at all of these different places now, so you go down to a CE meeting, but you tell them, I don't care if you go to the CE. We're going to have fun. And, we're going to have fun at the resort. I don't care if you go to the meetings, but there's going to be a lot of other team members there. There's going to be a lot of other people there. And guess what happens? What happens is your team members are now with other team members. And, maybe they didn't bring their whole team. Maybe they only brought 1 or 2 employees. And all of a sudden you have people that aren't even dental assistants, aren't even working in the dental industry or dental front desk, whatever it is, that are saying, man, I wish I worked for your boss. I wish I worked with you guys. I've had people say that. I can't tell you how many times, hundreds of times. Said, man, I'd love to do that. Even my patients would go, you took your whole team to Cancun? You took your whole team to Hawaii? Man, I wish I worked here. I said, well, we can make that happen. Let's talk. We're looking for somebody that does X, Y, or Z. But when you build a culture a culture of inclusion, a culture of communication, a culture of complimenting our team, a culture of educating our team, a culture of when something's going on in their family life, a culture of support for that team member. I've told the story about Gay. Her son was in a coma. He had a four-wheeler accident. And I went to the hospital. I spent time there. The next morning, Gay was at the office. He's in a coma. I looked at her and I said, what are you doing here? She goes, well, I'm here for work. I said, get your butt in your truck, go back over to the hospital. She goes, well, I really can't afford it. And I can't afford to miss work. And I said, here's the deal. I will pay you your normal salary as long as he is in a coma. And I want you to be there with him. And it almost brings tears to my eyes because it meant so much. Was it the financial part for me? The whole team came together and supported Gay. And I told them, I said, look, I'm going to take care of her salary. We're going to include that in our bonus structure. We're going to include her in everything. And, praise the Lord that a few months, he was in a coma for a couple of months. Afterwards, he fully recovered. So, how do you think she felt about what we did and what I did, my commitment to my team? What do you think the team thought of that? And I don't mind if a team member's having personal issues and personal problems. I want to try to help them if I can. I want to be a mentor for them. I want to be a helper for them. If they're always in the same boat all the time and they keep making poor decisions, then I point that out. It's just like having one of my daughters. I've got now, counting bonus daughters and everything, I've gotten, 8 daughters. And, so I'm used to giving advice, trying to give advice to help them. But you see all these things play a major role. They all come together. It's not the one thing you do. It's not when you leave at the end of the day and go, Gay, you did a phenomenal job today. Thank you. Or when you ran behind that day and you call the whole team together, that have been working with you in the back and up front. You just say, guys, it was a tough day today. I really appreciate you guys. I mean, nobody went nuts. We were able to take care of everybody. We kept our head up high. We did the things that we know we do well. And thank you. And thank you goes a long way. So you think it's all about the money? No, I want my team to be the highest paid people. If we're the fastest growing practice in the area and they're getting to share in profitability incentive point bonuses and they're getting grab bag bonuses, trust me, they're the highest paid people in the area. There is no one around you, and you'll have other people that want to come work for you. So you can blame COVID, you can blame anything you want. But my experience in life has been, usually I have to self-reflect, because usually if I'm in a pickle, it's because I got me there and I got my team there. And so I share this with you. I hope you take it to heart. I hope it's something you may be doing all these things, and that's awesome. And I'm proud of you. But if you're not, these are things that might be able to help you in the long run. And that's what I want. I want you to be able to take great care of your patients, have low stress, and to have a business is one that you've always dreamed of. And that is possible. Productive Dentist Academy, we teach a lot of this stuff. We work with you on this stuff. People say, well, I don't know if I, whatever, but I don't know if I really want to hire a coach. It's too expensive. We're going to talk about that again here in just a little bit on one of our future podcasts. But anyway, thanks. I hope you guys vote for us. on Dentawoo. It is DENTAWOO. There is a contest right now for the favorite podcasts. We've been in the top 3 podcasts the last couple of years, and I would appreciate a vote if you liked our podcast. So anyway, thank you guys. I look forward to our next podcast together.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Productive Dentist Podcast. If you found this episode helpful, make sure you subscribe. Pass it along to a friend. Give us a like on iTunes and Spotify, or drop me an email at podcast@productivedentist.com. Don't forget to check out other podcasts from the Productive Dentist Academy at productivedentistpodcast.com. Join me again next week for another episode of the Productive Dentist Podcast.